I'm Liam Breeze, and this is Neuqua Connection. I have Rachel Pearson from NCTV. So, Rachel, grateful to have you here.
Thanks, I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. So one of my first questions is, what is your main role at NCTV?
Sure. So Naperville Community Television has a lot of different roles, but my title is Programming Director. So what that means is that I oversee all of the programming that we do at the station. We have a news department, we have a TV department, and we have a sports department, and then we also tape a lot of different programs in our studio. So my job is to make sure that everything gets scheduled, gets taped, goes up on our social media, on the website, and is pushed out through our marketing department.
Okay, and why did you choose this job, or did you work up to, and how so?
Sure. So I actually have sort of dabbled in TV my entire career. I graduated college and started as a weekend anchor in Quincy, Illinois, also as a multimedia journalist there. I then was promoted to a morning news anchor in Quincy, and then I was plucked up and became a morning news anchor in Springfield, Illinois. And I decided that commercial television was a little bit too hectic, a little too crazy, and I decided to move back to the suburbs. And I had worked at Naperville Community Television as a news reporter my last year of college, and so I decided to go back and really give back to an organization that had done a lot for me. It really gave me the tools that I needed to succeed and to grow in my career. And it's a wonderful non-for-profit organization, and I'm really happy to be back and to be a part of it in a bigger role that sort of helps it grow and look at where it's moving forward.
Okay. So you said that you graduated from Neuqua. So what classes did you take? Like media-wise, of course. Media-wise,
okay. So, and I was just talking to Mr. G about this earlier today. I took TV production as a sophomore, so that would have been like 2007. And then I went on to do Wildcat Weekly. I sort of decided that journalism was the track I wanted to take, so I was with Lisa Trout for 2 years. And my senior year, I was the editor of Wildcat Weekly. So I didn't actually go out and do stories, I just more put the full show together. And you know, I was involved in theater and music at Neuqua as well, so I often crossed paths with media production, with theater and things like that. But yeah, Neuqua was a great school for me, and by the time I was a freshman in college, I was actually taking a senior level practicum because I already knew how to shoot, I knew how to edit, I knew basic composition skills. So my professors were pretty impressed with that, and really the program with Wildcat Weekly and with Neuqua Media has just given me really the base skills needed to jump and move on.
Okay, so what was your favorite memory of being in Neuqua Media?
Oh gosh, so I have, okay, I'm going to tell you one memory that wasn't great, but it sticks out in my mind. I was a junior, and in Wildcat Weekly, every week we would sit down after the show had aired and we would critique everyone's stories. You know, you say what worked, what didn't, and I was incredibly passionate about this story that I had done. And my peers ripped it to shreds. They were like, there was something wrong with it. It felt like every other second. And I remember going out in the hallway and Miss Trout consulting me because I was crying. I was in tears over how bad my peers thought this story was. And it was to the point where I was convinced that I never wanted to do TV again, because I couldn't handle the criticism. But I learned not to take things personally. I've gotten much better at being able to take criticism. But I can also just remember it was more of the time outside of class, you know, during my option period, coming here and hanging out with Mr. G and Trout. And, you know, I had friends that were in the TV production course, so helping with the movies that they were making and things like that. And I also just remember loving being able to grab a camera and run around on campus and interview a bunch of people. We used to do sort of like this man on the street type thing, where we would just ask students random questions, and it was really fun to annoy them. So I liked that a lot.
Okay, so what does a typical day at NCTV look like?
For me, or for the station, or?
Either.
Okay, I'll start with me.
Okay.
I typically go to a lot of meetings. I'm in a leadership role at the station, so I meet with our production team, I meet with our programming team. There's a leadership meeting that I go to once a week, and basically we sort of look at what's coming up as far as projects. We do a lot of production services for clients, so it's making sure that we have crew for those things. It's making sure that we know what the client wants, making sure that we know the deadline and can turn things around. I just finished up a half-hour special that I made that looked back on 10 years of news. Naperville News 17 celebrates 10 years this month. So I went through about 10 years of old footage and got to look back and sort of highlight that aspect of the station. But really a lot of what my job is dealing with community events. So if you've ever been to a concert or an orchestra show, a lot of times NCTV is there. And so my job is to schedule those events and make sure we have people for them and communicate with the school band directors and other organizations to do that. But the station itself does just about everything you can think of. We're at sports games. We have our own game show. It's called Game On. There are some juniors and seniors here who have been a part of that.
I remember seeing that at lunch once.
At lunch?
Yeah.
They played it at lunch?
It was in the lunchroom and we watched it for the entire period.
Well, that's exciting.
Yep.
We'd have to get you on it, maybe. Ooh. Could you handle a game show?
I don't know, maybe.
You good at trivia?
Maybe.
Okay.
A little bit.
He sounds really confident. And we also have shows that we tape in our studio. So there's the Naperville Moms Network, and it's a group of moms who talk about what it's like to be a mom. And we actually have a new show that's premiering next week. It's called Dana Being Dana. She's a lawyer in town, and she talks about some stuff that isn't always fun to talk about, but she's really funny. So I'm looking forward to that.
Sounds interesting. So where did you get your education for journalism, and what would you say the recommended path would be from your own experience?
Yeah, so I am a firm advocate in that there is not one set path for any person. I graduated from Neuqua with a very terrible GPA. I had really bad grades. I didn't do homework. I didn't study. I did well on tests, so I probably graduated with like a C-. I think I had like a 2.8 GPA. It was really bad. I barely got into college, and I went undecided. I didn't know what I wanted to do. But my first week at college, this was at Biola University. It's a very small Christian college out in Orange County, California. And my first week there, I was just talking with another student, and a professor comes up to me and said, "I really like your voice. Can I show you our TV department?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." Next thing I know, I'm taking his classes. I'm declaring broadcast journalism, as my major. I lasted 3 semesters, and I dropped out of college.
Okay.
It was not for me. I moved back to Naperville. I got a job. I decided college just wasn't for me. I didn't need it. Fast forward 2 years, I decided that yes, I should have a college degree. I went to North Central College right here in Naperville, so it was my own backyard. Graduated in 2 years with honors, got my act together, and before I had even graduated college, I had my job offer to go be a weekend news anchor in Quincy. So my advice, though, to others who are pursuing media or pursuing television or news or anything like that is to know that there is no set checklist of if you do all of these things, you'll be successful. What I really think it comes down to is you have to have a passion for it and be willing to put in the time and effort to better yourself and to make yourself stand out so that, yes, larger markets, employers see you as someone who has drive, and there will be setbacks. But I know people who, again, I graduated from a very, very small college, and I worked alongside people who went to the top journalism schools in the country. There's no one right way to get to where you want to be, as long as you have the passion and the drive to get there yourself.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. So we have many journalists, or at least journalists and filmmakers that are at least interested in the topic. What advice do you have for them?
I think it's worth noting that, and I'll speak more to journalism because I don't really dabble in television production. That's not necessarily my strength. But with journalism, I can tell you that it's very competitive and it's very fast-paced. So being able to hit a deadline, being able to think on your feet, and then also being able to sort of stomach some of the stories that you'll tell. There have been some pretty gruesome things that I've had to report on. I've seen dead bodies, I've been at car crashes, I've been at house fires watching people lose everything they love. I've storm chased with tornadoes. It's dangerous, it's depressing, and you're putting yourself in harm's way sometimes, but at the end of the day, it's worth it because one, you're either informing people of something that they need to know about, or two, you're sharing someone else's story with the hopes that it impacts someone else's lives and that it connects a community together. So be prepared to, get down and dirty. I know a lot of people, when they hear that I was a TV news anchor, they're like, oh, that's so cool. Yeah, well, I was at work at 3 a.m. every morning. I slept 4 hours a night. I did my own hair and makeup. I sat behind a desk and read a teleprompter for 4 hours straight with no bathroom breaks. It is not as glamorous as you might think, but that still being said, it was a lot of fun.
Okay. So thank you, Rachel, for coming here on Neuqua Connection, and I hope you have a nice day.
Thank you, Liam. I appreciate that.